If you care about real soil, the kind that feeds plants instead of just holding them upright, this is one of those upgrades you'll wish you started years ago. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a comment letting me know what you're growing this season, because this nearly free soil upgrade is one of the most reliable ways I know to turn tired dirt into productive, living soil without buying expensive bags or gimmicks. This nearly free soil upgrade works because it fixes what most soils are actually missing. Most gardens don't fail from lack of fertilizer. They fail because the soil has lost structure, biology, and long-term organic matter. The upgrade I'm talking about is finished leaf mold, blended properly into your soil, not dumped on top and forgotten, but used with intention. Leaf mold is decomposed leaves broken down by fungi rather than bacteria, and it behaves very differently from compost. It doesn't burn plants, it doesn't wash away quickly, and it transforms soil at a physical level, which is why it works like magic when nothing else seems to. Why leaf mold changes soil faster than compost alone becomes obvious when you understand what roots actually want. Roots don't just want nutrients, they want air pockets, moisture held evenly, and fungal partners that move nutrients for them. Leaf mold creates crumb structure in clay soils and sponge-like moisture retention in sandy soils. It increases fungal activity, which is critical for perennials, fruiting crops, and long-season vegetables. This is why forest soil stays fertile for decades without fertilizer. Leaf mold is forest soil biology in a form we can use. How to make leaf mold cheaply without special equipment is simpler than most people think. All you need are fallen leaves and thyme. Shred them if possible, because shredded leaves break down faster, but whole leaves will still work. Pile them in a corner of the yard, a wire bin, or heavy sacks with holes punched for airflow. Keep them moist like a wrung-out sponge, not dripping wet. In warm climates, usable leaf mold forms in 6 to 9 months. In cooler climates, expect closer to a year. The key is patience. This is not compost that heats up fast. This is a slow fungal process, and slow is exactly what makes it powerful. So how to apply a leaf mold correctly so it actually upgrades soil is where, honestly, most gardeners get it wrong for raised beds and garden beds. The ideal ratio is 1 part finished leaf mold to 3 parts existing soil. But if your soil is very poor, you can push this to a 1-to-1 ratio the first year, especially in new beds. Just spread the leaf mold evenly over the bed and mix it into the top 6 to 8 inches. That depth really matters because that's where most feeder roots live. And don't forget, water thoroughly after mixing to settle everything and, activate microbial life. Now, how to use leaf mold in pots and containers without causing drainage problems does require a slightly different ratio. Containers need structure and airflow, so you'll want to use 1 part leaf mold to 4 parts potting mix or garden soil. This improves water retention and root health, all without compacting the container. For fruit trees in large pots, leaf mold can actually replace up to 20% of the total mix safely. You'll notice better moisture consistency within weeks, especially in hot weather. Here's the thing. How leaf mold repairs clay soil instead of just masking it is really one of its strongest benefits. Clay soil is dense, sticky, and, easily compacted. When you mix leaf mold into clay at a ratio of 1 part leaf mold to 2 parts clay soil, it creates permanent pore spaces as the organic matter breaks down slowly. Sand and compost alone tend to disappear over time, but leaf mold leaves behind stable aggregates. Be sure to work it in during the dry season when clay is crumbly, not wet and sticky, to get the best results. How leaf mold saves water and reduces irrigation needs is something you'll notice almost immediately. Leaf mold can hold several times its weight in water while still draining freely. In practical terms, that means soil stays evenly moist longer. Gardeners using leaf mold often reduce watering by 20 to 30% within one season. This matters not just for convenience, but for root health, because fluctuating moisture stresses plants more than steady conditions. So, how do you combine leaf mold with small nutrient inputs for maximum results? Well, this is the sort of thing that can turn good soil into truly great soil. Leaf mold on its own is, pretty low in nutrients, so pairing it with a light feeding really does make sense. A simple approach is to add about 1 cup of worm castings or well-finished compost per square meter when you mix in your leaf mold. This actually inoculates the soil with beneficial bacteria, while the leaf mold itself supports the fungal networks. The balance you get creates a complete soil food web rather than just a quick nutrient spike. Now, what changes should you expect to see, and well, how fast do they happen? It really depends on your soil's condition, but most gardeners notice improved tilth within just a few weeks. Digging becomes easier, water starts to infiltrate rather than running right off, and plants establish roots much faster, showing less stress during those hot spells. Over 1 to 2 seasons, earthworm activity increases dramatically, simply because leaf mold creates those cool, moist conditions that worms absolutely love. Why does this upgrade keep working year after year? That's really what makes it evergreen. Unlike fertilizers that just wash out or compost that breaks down fairly quickly, leaf mold decomposes slowly. Each year you add it, your soil structure just keeps improving. Honestly, a thin half-inch top-up annually is enough to maintain results once your soil is restored. If you're serious about building soil instead of fighting it, this is one upgrade that delivers real results for almost no cost. Leaves are everywhere, and frankly, most people just throw them away. Turn them into leaf mold and you're building the same soil system nature has used successfully for millions of years. If this guide helped you see soil a bit differently, make sure you subscribe to the Evergreen Garden channel, share this with another gardener who's struggling with poor soil, and, leave a comment telling me where you plan to use leaf mold this season. Healthy soil changes everything, and this nearly free upgrade really does prove it.